Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Placerville Speedway, also known as Hangtown or Knoxville up on the hill. And speaking of the hill, we're standing on it here on the entry to turn 3 and 4. So the hill is at the top of the list on what makes this place unique, but Placerville is also known for being an extremely tight bull ring. Doesn't feel much bigger than like one of our outlaw kart track, but it's super banked, got red clay, and it usually builds a super tall cushion by the end of the night. And in order to win here, you got to put your right rear against it. You got to run really, really hard. You see a lot of slicing and dicing, and there's not necessarily a lot of room to make that happen. So that's what makes it exciting. Guys are constantly racing in each other's grill. So we're expecting 40 plus 410 sprint cars this evening. We've obviously kind of had a tough weekend leading into this, but tonight's a new night. We're hoping just to get things started off on the right foot and really just make the best laps that we can to try to put it all together. So in just a little bit, we're gonna finish everything with the 18T and we'll be ready to go racing. So we have a little bit of speed to start our night here at Placerville. This racetrack, man, it is the definition of a bull ring. I think we were top 5 in hot laps in our flight. So flight A went, flight B is going to be going next. Felt good in hot laps. The racetrack was super sloppy, greasy, very easy to just push the nose because of some of the water standing on top of the surface. So then we went out to qualify, second car out. Racetrack, I think, is still a little greasy. You really have to run the top quarter of the racetrack. If you kind of get towards the middle, it's slimy. My first lap, I just kind of wanted to lay down one solid conservative lap, like make sure I had an okay time. And then the second lap, I was going to try to push it. I was able to do that, except I screwed up my second lap. I just got in with a lot of throttle, and I just got the car rotated too soon and kind of caught the grease and killed my time. So that really hurt us. I think if I would have been able to push it and just go a little harder than the first lap, mimicking the same line, I would have been able to jump up with a faster time. But we'll kind of have to see what the surface does. I think right now we're sitting, there's a lot of good cars in our group. Right now we're sitting 7th, so they still have a handful more to go. So hopefully we can hold on to a decent time. Like I said, our lap's okay. If we gain a whole 10th, we're almost into the top 3. So anyway, we'll see how things go. I think the racetrack's going to speed up as it continues to just get faster and faster. So we're starting 6th here in the first heat race. Track's gonna be pretty, well, it's still fast, and of course it's wet, but got a lot of tear-offs on, gonna need those for sure. Coming from row 3 here, we just gotta get one car. If we run in the top 5, we transfer to tonight's A. I think passing's probably gonna be more at a minimal, so it's gonna come down to having a good start and just trying to make, first 2-3 good laps, and then I think guys are gonna single file out. So we're happy with our car. We had a solid qualifying effort. Obviously always want to do a little bit more, but we're in position here to have a shot at making the feature if things go our way.
Let's rock. Racing that being Brad Sweet, and then Jacob Allen and Tanner Holmes in row 3.
have anything good. I don't have anything good to say. Yeah. Thought we were gonna transfer there. I was running 5th on the first lap, and I don't know, they just have the track so wet on the bottom that, like, we were out there trying to burn in the grease. You know, everyone kind of ran up top. The bottom's so wet. First heat race, recipe for disaster. I mean, look at my car. Lucky that I have a car. I hopped the right rear of, I couldn't tell you who it was. I don't know. We all kind of tried to single file out and all kind of went to the bottom, and I don't know, the car in front of me kind of pushed. I didn't really yet, and they just lost so much momentum, I think, getting stuck like this, and I launched over their right rear. I just came up to them so quick, and then I got passed by the whole field. Basically let the whole field by, and I mean, it wouldn't have been better if I would have stopped, or it wouldn't have been, it didn't matter. Once you're behind guys on that, you're not going anywhere. So I know some people maybe think I'm whining or complaining or whatever, but it's like the surface, we're not going anywhere, and I was just trying to get in the show, and then, you know, we have that disaster. So I guess the only thing I would have, maybe if I could have just ran way high into 3 and 4, but what's hard here historically at Placerville, all guys go to the bottom, because even if when you try to run the top, even though it's burned in, you leave the lane open. So I was trying to single file out with guys, and anyway, and someone just flipped. They just said car upside down. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know if we should continue the rest of the night, or we should just, we're going to be so buried now, so it just sucks. And actually, I had one more thing to just, well, you saw my helmet. I went through, I think, 20 tear-offs. 18 or 20 tear-offs from the time I left my pit till the time I got back. That's worth noting as well. So it's pretty nuts. No joke, man. Trying to see out there. The visibility once you're behind a car or two is it's basically next to nothing. So just got all changed into my my normal attire. We decided to park the 18T for the remainder of today's show. We were scheduled to start, I think, 2nd row of the C main, and a lot, you know, situations like that aren't just easy. We didn't just all come in and say, hey, like we need to park our race car. Come in the motorhome for the rest of this one. Just like, we've had such a frustrating weekend, and I thought tonight, you know, I actually was like, you know what, like I said, let's just try to work on doing everything right. And we didn't qualify great necessarily, but like, we were in a spot where we had a shot to make the show. That in itself, that heat race was so frustrating, and it's like, of course, like, we were in 5th, going to the corner, I need to watch the video back, whatever happened. Luckily, it didn't tear up more of my stuff, and luckily my car set down and I was okay, and I could continue on. Not that it would have mattered anyway, because I was almost in last, or was last, and you weren't passing anyone, and by then everyone had already, you know, got all sorts of ground on me. But yeah, then we're like in a C main event, and you know, we have a lot of work to do this coming week to kind of prepare for still a lot of races that we have ahead of us. And instead of tonight, where there's, in all of our eyes, there's really no benefit. The racetrack is still very, very fast. It's hard to pass. And don't get me wrong, like, Placerville, especially for A-main events, usually puts on a show when it gets slick. Like, I'm not saying this place is a bad racetrack. It's just how tonight has went, where we're at. Like, it just doesn't make sense, especially with the week that we've had so far and the work that we have ahead. You know, we have cars to build this week in the shop, and we have equipment to turn around. Like, we're still recovering from our Midwest stint. And then also, as our operation, as we're trying to build up, like, I feel like we're working on just being as smart as we can. And that doesn't mean every time you're down and out, or you're on the outside looking in, like, you should just pull the plug for the night. That's not what we're saying. Just with the order of how events have went, with the current situation and what we're dealing with the track, how many cars we would need to pass to even get into tonight's show, which is really where the value, where you actually make more money. I mean, right now you're making nothing, but like, it's all nothing until you actually get start money and get in the A. Basically, I'm saying there's just a ton of risk for not much reward, and for how much all the people around me, my family, my crew, put into this program, and I put everything I got into this program. Like, we just ultimately have to do what's right for us, and what's right for us is to stop. All right, we got to reset this week. We actually have some time at home in the shop. Let's rebuild. Let's get everything in order. Let's go through our engines. Let's go through our cars. Let's build, and let's get ready to roll for the rest of our schedule. And the last part of that sentence, and it starts right this moment, like, let's not go tear up a car for no good reason in the back where, you know, yeah. So anyway, we're going to go watch the rest of tonight. It really sucks watching, but we're going to go see kind of how things end up. And obviously, you always try to learn a little bit from the stands and kind of end our night that way.